the Horror Junkies of Utah coming at you tonight, and we just got back from a showing on Crimson Peak. It's Guillermo
del Toro.
Guillermo
del Toro.
Okay, I can't say his name, so I'm not going to slaughter it. Eddie knows the director very well. What's some of his other movies he's actually done?
He's done Blade 2, Devil's Backbone. He's done Pan's Labyrinth. He's done Pacific Rim. He's done quite a few films. He's done Mimic. And he has quite a list of movies he's done.
He does. And you know, it's getting some positive reviews out there. It's raking in some dough. But let's really talk about this and get our lights on, please. There we go. Now let's be real with this film. I want these two in their reaction, and I believe Eddie wants to go first because he has some very personal beliefs on this film, since this is one of his more favorited directors. Or?
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite directors. I had really high hopes for this film. Fell flat for me. I was really disappointed in it. It just didn't have... The story took so long to pick up. I mean, just the overall story. It had a good concept, but it was really nothing there. Overused special effects and CGI. I mean, they didn't really have special effects. It was just CGI. I mean, they should have used actual special effects, prosthetics, real fake blood and stuff instead of just focusing on CGI. So, I mean, I went in with into the movie theater with high hopes, wanting to like this film, but it just fell flat for me. I wanted to leave the movie theater.
Yeah, I was about to say, so I'm sitting next to Eddie, and he literally is like back in his seat like... And you know what's interesting though? A couple people got up and left the movie theater.
Yeah.
I think 4 or 5. I don't know if they were in a group or what, but they left and they didn't come back.
As hell and back.
But what did you think, Tracy?
On a positive note, I did like the actor selection that they had for it. The main girl, Mia, I do not want to slaughter her name, I'm not even going to attempt to say her name, who starred in Alice in Wonderland. She was the main character. They had Jessica Chastain, who was in Zero Dark 30 and The Help, and Tom Hiddleston, who was Loki
in the Avengers.
In the Avengers, and Charlie Hunnam, who played Jack Teller.
Here we go with Tracy's.
In Sons of Anarchy, so...
We don't get to see his butt in this one, though, so...
It's very unfortunate, but...
He does look like he put a couple pounds on, though.
You think so?
So I did like the actors. They did good.
How did you think the acting was in the film? Do you think they acted well, or do you feel...
It was okay. I mean, it wasn't like Oscar-winning performances. I mean, it was okay.
Yeah, I think if the storyline would have been better, it would have been a better film altogether. But I thought the acting was good. I thought that the visual aspects were stunning. I thought that they were absolutely incredible and beautiful, and just all of the clothing that they wear, all of the vintage clothing, it was very aesthetically pleasing to look at.
See, now that's where I think that's the only thing they focused on this film. I think they dropped the ball on the plot. Yeah. I think it was really boring and slow, and I felt like half the time I wanted to get out of the theater. Yeah. I could have watched this on the History Channel if I wanted to get that visual aspect. And I think they focused a little bit too much on the visual aspect. And I was actually reading a quote from the director on, I believe it was Wikipedia, so I don't know how much I can say it was a direct quote from him, because you never know, but he was saying something about how, yes, it's a very visual film, and that's cool, but if you're going to have good visuals, you have to back it up with good storyline.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't think it hit home, and they play it off in the previews.
Yeah.
Like a horror movie and like a scary ghost film. Yeah. I didn't get that at all. I got inbred motherfucking... whatever you want to call it.
Well, it's interesting because a few times in the beginning of the film, the main girl, she says, because she is writing her story, she says, this is a story about a ghost. It is not a ghost story.
It is.
So it plays into the film. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So it really isn't a horror movie. It has a ghost in it, but it's not a ghost story.
Do you think he put that in there to kind of say that to us as it opened up? Like, I know that's just dialogue in the film, but do you think he actually threw that in the script to make it apparent, like maybe in a subliminal message?
I think he was thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna do that shit, don't sell it like it's a horror movie in the previews, man. Because I was bored.
Yeah, Sammy, that happens with a lot of movies in the horror movie genre. They build you up with the movie trailers and they sell you on it, and then when you go and you're like, what is going on?
Man.
I might as well just watch the movie trailer a couple times.
Those guys probably get paid big bucks. What'd you think about the plot, or lack of, or I wouldn't say it was a terrible plot, I just don't think it was a horror plot.
Wasn't really an original idea. It's been done many times before. I was just kind of like, man, I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, this movie reminds me of this, and this movie reminds me of this.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, this is boring.
What'd you think?
I just don't consider this a horror film
Me either.
whatsoever. But
So if we went into it thinking it's a very romantic, gothic story, would that have made our expectations different?
Probably not for me.
No?
it probably would have for me, because
Yeah,
I was expecting it to be scary and to be a horror movie, and it wasn't. But the lack thereof with the plot and it not being a horror movie, I thought he's just a visual genius, and I thought that kind of covered the tracks on that.
And that's me too. If I went into the film thinking, okay, it's not a horror movie, it's not even a ghost movie really, it's a romantic
Suspense.
then I might have thought differently about it.
Drama.
But I think they tried to sell it as a horror ghost story from the stuff I seen in the preview world. But beyond that, was there any scene that made you guys actually kind of crawl out of your skin or jump or anything?
Not really, but you know what made me think some of the snow scenes and the outside scenes remind me a lot of the Silent Hill movies. And you know, Guillermo was actually helping to create a Silent Hill game, but got shut down, so he definitely had a Silent Hill vibe outside.
Yeah, that outside he did. Was there anything that made you jump or get scared?
The beginning actually kind of scared me when it shows her mother as the ghost coming in and like sliding her hand on her. Like
Really?
that kind of gave me like a creepy feeling, and so I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be kind of scary. And so I think that raised my expectation, and then that's what let me down.
For me, right there, that opening ghost scene, I was like, this movie sucks. I think I've seen this ghost in a Disney show, man. Like, what is this?
Or the Sleepy Hollow ghost.
Exactly. I was just like, this is gonna suck. Because I'm going into this thinking, and I'm probably having way different expectations, and I don't know where I'm getting them from, but I'm thinking possession movies, scary ghosts, and then we get this ghost that's like floating and shit, and I'm just like, dude, isn't this in Mickey Mouse's Haunted Mansion game from Sega Genesis? You know, it just didn't work for me, and that's when I was like done after that, checked out. But there were a couple cheap scares that got me with, you know, the noise, like boom. And the bathtub scene was a little disturbing.
Yeah.
But
I just can't get used to the overused CGI. I mean,
it was the ghosts and stuff. It was. I think they showed too much.
Yeah.
You know, that option of less is more.
Yeah.
I think with the ghosts and stuff,
Definitely.
you just seen them plain and clear, and it was like
what he should
Lord
have
of the
done.
Rings or something. I don't know.
What he should have done was sat down, watched The Conjuring and Annabelle, and then started working on that movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Get
But
some
I
tips.
see, and that's the way I think it was sold to me personally. But I don't think that's the movie he tried to create. I think he tried to create a gothic romance, and so for me, it's just that's what this film was.
And that's what some of his films, I mean, you never know what you're going to get with Guillermo. Just like that M. Night Shyamalan guy where you think you get one movie and then you get totally
No, I know
opposite.
everything I'm going to get with M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, of course.
Garbage. I mean, I don't like any of them. There's maybe one or two, but not many.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, anything else to say about this movie?
Not really.
Not really.
Should we
If
rate
we were
on
giving a rating,
-2.
-2. What about you, Tracy?
The visual aspects is the most redeeming quality, and Charlie Hunnam. So
Oh man.
She's like the Charlie Hunnam factor.
yeah, that
So
guy.
where does Charlie and Billy rank? You know, is it Billy or is it Charlie?
Talk about that after. So for that aspect alone, and I'm being very generous, I will give it a 5.
Wow.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna rate it 2 different ways. I'm gonna go if I'm rating it as what I wanted it to be, a horror movie, it's like a 2 or a 1. But once it was about halfway through the movie and I realized this wasn't a horror movie anymore, it was that gothic romantic crap, I would probably say about a 5 or a 6. But it just didn't hit a home run with me. I was really bored and wanted to leave and go to the bar, honestly, that was right next door. Same with her husband, I'm pretty sure.
I was like falling asleep.
Yeah, anyways, we got some shout outs to give because we went to some cool events today. Why don't you give a shout out?
So we went to the Bohuff Memorial Car Show today, and I want to give a big, huge shout out to Perfectly Pinup Accessories. They actually made this little pin that I am wearing right now.
And my
There's that.
necklace.
It is Lacey Chiffon and her mother, and they are a mother-daughter duo, and they make awesome, vintage, creepy, scary accessories. Love all the stuff that they make.
Definitely. So check them out. They're on Instagram and everything.
Instagram, Facebook, they're all over.
Definitely give their page a like.
Do it. And then I think Eddie's got one as well.
Yeah, I actually wanted to give a shout out to Fright Rags. I won their Fright Rags pin collection contest, which was awesome.
With help from me.
Yeah, because if it wasn't for him, I would have never entered. So definitely want to give a shout out to Fright Rags. You guys produce great shirts. Love you guys' stuff.
And I want to say, Patrick Kendall, thank you. I got some really killer art from you today. You were awesome at the car show as well. Anyways, we are the Horror Junkies of Utah. I am Marcus.
I'm Eddie.
I am Tracy.
You guys have a wonderful
Have a good night.
See you later.